Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. Hope you're having a great day today, and check this out. I want to thank my friends, Prince Orange's County, up there in Maryland, the police department. They sent me a t-shirt to wear, and if you're part of law enforcement and that kind of thing, and you want to send a t-shirt, I wear XXX and XXX. I want to wear them throughout the entire season. That GCI Turf, me and my family, we support you and respect you. So I'll put the address down in the description. You can send me a t-shirt. Well, grass seed in the springtime. What do you think about it? Hey, you know, pre-emergent and seeding typically don't go hand in hand, because a pre-emergent's job is to not allow that seed to, continue its growth. So kind of what happens is you apply pre-emergent, kind of forms a barrier over your ground, or a level of protection, if you may. Typically with prodiamine, it's more like a vapor barrier. And then it's geared more toward crabgrass. So once that crabgrass seed germinates, that little root will come out and it come in contact with that vapor barrier, or that level of protection on the ground. It'll burn the root or stop the root from going any further, and that crabgrass plant can't develop and mature, so you don't see it in June or July. Look at my garden right there, man. I cannot wait to get my peppers in the ground and show you some things about that. Now, one thing about pre-emergence is it doesn't, with the prodiamine specifically, it doesn't have the ability to tell the difference between a crabgrass seed and a tall fescue seed, or any other grass seed that I know of. So I was able to cut the neighbor's renovation back here. You see it's coming in pretty good. This left half over here looks exceptionally well. This right side over here, where I have more washing, look, I've got a few little bare areas. Now you can see this spot right here. Let me get out of the sun. You can see this spot right here. That probably, you can see the size of my hand with my fist. That probably will not fill in because it's tall fescue. Now if that were Kentucky bluegrass or something like that, yeah, it probably will fill in by feeding it correctly, but fescue will not. So my only option is I have to put some grass seed right here, unless I want to look at that dirt all year long. Now I know industry standards says you can't do that, Pete. You can't put seed down when you have already applied your pre-emergent. Well, I put that pre-emergent down back in mid-February. So that pre-emergent, let me explain it like this. Now I want you to tell me if you think my way of thinking is right or wrong, okay? So ground temperature, okay, that's kind of what plays a role in when that crabgrass is going to germinate. And let's say that ground temperature is around 55 degrees, okay? Well, our ground temperatures have been 55 degrees for a time now, okay? Follow me? So what happens is I've got my barrier down. I've got my pre-emergent barrier down back in mid-February, okay? Now that we've reached 55 degrees, for the most part, I would guess that most of that crabgrass, if the crabgrass seeds back here, they've already germinated. And since they have already germinated, and I had my pre-emergent down before that happened, so that I could catch the root and burn the root so that the root could not develop into a full plant, that has already happened, okay? That period in time, or that exact moment in time, has already happened, meaning pre-emergent down, crabgrass germinated, seed, the root burned, crabgrass can't grow now. So I'm past that, right? All right, so pre-emergent lasts for a length of time, right? The pre-emergent on this my neighbor's yard back here, is quite active right now. So if I were to throw grass seed down, and then that grass seed sprout and a little root come out and touch that barrier, it's probably going to burn the root the barrier is probably going to burn the root, and then that grass plant is not going to mature, right? All right, so what if we do this? What if we break the barrier? Think it'll work? Well, I'm not saying for every single last little individual circumstance it will work, but it works for me. It's been working. Hang on, I'm telling you, I gotta lose some weight or get rid of some shoulders, one of the two. It's been working for me for a very long time. Let's grab my old weasel. Let me go show you something. So I get it that aeration and overseeding is not necessarily needed in all parts of the country. I understand that completely. In my neck of the woods, it is needed because we're growing a cool season turf in a very hot summer environment. Sometimes people don't mow correctly, sometimes people don't water correctly, and their turf struggles. So when turf struggles, sometimes it dies, right? And with fescue, it's not going to fill back in, so you have to plant these little things called grass seed. Now here's a spot in my yard, right here and right here. These are the only two spots I have, and I'm 100% convinced that those two spots are not going to fill in. So what do? Let's break the barrier. All right, so I'd say that barrier is pretty well broken. Put a little seed on it. Then I'm going to take my weasel, work that seed into the soil just a little bit to give me some good seed to soil contact. And I'm going to keep that moist. So now that's a good little example of how to treat a small area, okay? Or maybe a DIY area. Maybe you don't have access to big commercial equipment, but you can always use a weasel. So what if your area is too big to manage with a weasel? Well, that's where equipment comes into play, okay? I'm gonna take this plugger, this aerator, and I'm gonna go over there and do the right side of my neighbor's renovation, and I'm gonna go over it a couple of times and really break up that barrier really well. Alright, so there you go. I got it broken up pretty good. I went over about 3 times probably, 3 different directions. Of course, the reason I chose a standard typical plugger for this is I don't want to disturb or destroy any of my existing turf. I want to keep that. So I'm basically trying to punch a bunch of little holes in all the dirt areas so that I can create pockets for that seed to come up. So hey, there you go. So now all I'm gonna do is go get my grass seed and put it out, and I'll go a little bit heavy on it in the bare spots. Typically you would want to keep this watered or keep it watered enough to keep the seed moist. Now am I gonna be able, I got a lot going on, a whole lot. Getting ready to go out of town for my son's next surgery. I've got a business to run, a YouTube channel. I've got a lot of things going on, and this is a very big area of yard right here. It's about 20,000 square feet roughly. So I'm really not going to be able to keep this water. So am I taking a chance? Absolutely, I'm taking a chance. My cup is always half full. I'm that guy. And so I'm thinking that we're going to get some nice spring rain. That seed will come in. It's on a good fertility program. I'll be able to nourish and baby that new baby seed up as it comes up and get it going. And so I'm willing to take that chance. Now, if you have a smaller yard and you're able to water, by all means, you can use this process and then water. Now, what are the consequences if you choose to do this? Well, the consequences are very simple. We just broke up our pre-emergent barrier, right? So chances of some weeds other than crabgrass, or maybe even some late germinating crabgrass could sprout up toward the end of the year, I'll deal with that then. So hey, I hope that answers all the questions you have about spring seeding and can you do it, should you do it, and all that. It's really a case-by-case basis. Now, my guys have been out all week long with that machine and the aerator plugging, or not going over entire yards, but just little tiny areas here and there that may not have taken as well during the fall. Now, if you remember, man, we had a terrible fall last year with just unreal amounts of rain. So grass seed washes, okay? It's a fact of life. When that happens, it happens. It gets too cold later in the year to put seed down, so our next best option, or my next best option, was to do a little bit of spring seeding. So hey, I hope that helps. I hope it helps you to understand the pros and cons to spring seeding. It's not at all typical, okay? I don't want you to think I'm preaching to you spring seeding. I'm not. You seed in the fall, but from time to time things happen out of our control, so you have to seed at the next ideal time. And since all the ground temperatures are warming up, air temperatures are warming up, spring rains are coming, it just makes sense. But make sure you bust up that pre-emergent barrier good enough. Hey, I forgot about this. One more thing is, I'll do a round 2. I do split applications on my pre-emergent. When will I do that? Well, I'll give this as long as I can to come up. Once it comes up, once I've mowed it a couple of times, then I'll apply my next pre-emergent, okay? This will not hinder my fertilizer application. I'll stay on track with that. Post and pre-emergent weed controls, I'm gonna wait until I mow this again 2 times, then I can apply that. So hey, like, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Check you later.